It's time to overreact to Week 3 in the NFL. Jordan Love and the Packers bounced back after blowing a Week 2 lead in Atlanta. This performance by Love should make Packers fans feel much better. Coming into yesterday, Green Bay had a 10-game win streak and home openers on the line, and it felt like that was very much in jeopardy. It started off pretty ugly as a fourth down pass by Jordan Love nearly tore his groin due to the wet grass, and it fell incomplete. He also missed tight end Luke Musgrave on a potential huge gain over the middle. Love had a risky throw on a post route into triple coverage, and another horrendous throw later that was intercepted. Green Bay also allowed a punt return to Rashid Shaheed too, so that did not help. But after Derek Carr went down in the early third quarter, the Saints did not score again. And it's not like Jameis Winston was that bad either. After a failed fourth down in the early fourth quarter, the Packers seemed like they were done. But right after that, they flipped the switch and scored 18 unanswered points in the fourth quarter to win the game 18-17. I still can't tell if Love is good or not, but from what I can tell, he knows the offense very well. The offensive line gives him enough time to throw, and he's not afraid to take deep shots, which I like. After going down 17-9, they relied on analytics and went for 2 and converted, making it a 6-point game. With 3 minutes to go, Love threw a gorgeous back shoulder pass to Romeo Doubs, and Green Bay took a 1-point lead. The Saints came back down late in the fourth and missed a 46-yard field goal that would have gave them the lead, and the Packers were able to extend their home opener win streak to 11 games in a row. Also, gotta give a shout out to the Packers defense and their pass rush specifically, who kept Carr and Jameis rattled all game, and that's especially true for Rashawn Gary, who had 3 sacks. And that's great to see coming off his injury last year. The Miami Dolphins scored 70 motherfucking points. We are definitely going to roast the Broncos, don't worry, but the Dolphins scored 70 points without their second best weapon. Jalen Waddle missed this game with a concussion. In all my time of watching football, which is probably somewhere around 15 to 20 years now, I've never seen a team score this many points. Tyreek Hill scored a 54-yard touchdown out the gate, and the Dolphins ran, not total, but ran for 350 yards. Total yards wise, they had 726 yards of offense. I've never seen anything like that. It was like a real life version of those meme videos when a person plays Madden versus CPU on rookie and they win like 90-0, except this was real life. Devon Achane, the rookie running back, and Raheem Mostert combined for 8 total touchdowns of their own in the Slaughterfest. Now for Denver, they pulled this last year, allowing 51 points to Baker Mayfield and the Rams last year late in the season. So Sean Payton, man, what happened? I wonder if Denver regrets giving up a first and second round pick to have this guy coach their team. I know playing in Miami early in the season is tough, and I made a whole video about that, but giving up 70 points to any team in any situation is inexcusable. The Broncos are a joke right now, and they are not going in the right direction, but they do play the Bears next week, who might be more of a joke. The Cowboys lost to the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona gave my Giants quite a scare a week ago, but they were able to come back and avoid the embarrassment. The Cowboys, though, were not as fortunate. From the opening kickoff, you could tell that Arizona was more prepared and looked like the better team throughout the game. Dallas had 5 trips to the red zone and came away with only 6 points, and that's pretty much the entire story right there. With 3 minutes left and trailing by 12, Dak Prescott threw an awful interception to Kazir White, who is a player that came over with Jonathan Gannon from Philly, funny enough. Gannon got his first career win, and you can tell the players were thrilled for him, which was really cool to see. It's weird to think, but the Cardinals could have been 3-0. They've played 3 NFC East teams so far. They blew a 6-point lead in Week 1 versus Washington, blew a 21-point lead in Week 2 to the Giants, and they won on Sunday. If they were able to close out those games, then the quote-unquote tanking Arizona Cardinals could have been 3-0. I wouldn't freak out if I'm Dallas. They clearly were not up for this game, and when you're favorites by 13 points and lose, it's going to hurt. And trust me, if you're a Cowboys fan, you did not want to open social media after that game. It is just one game, but remember this loss when it comes to playoff seeding. If the Eagles were to win the East by a game, then hey, go back and remember this game. Dallas also had 107 penalty yards, so obviously Mike McCarthy and that crew has to clean that up. But you gotta give credit to Arizona and even Josh Dobbs, who's been playing very well so far, especially for a guy who's only been there for like a month. The AFC South might not be what we thought it was. Going into the season, we thought that the Jaguars and the Titans would be atop that division, no question about it, but as it stands right now, the Colts and the Texans are 1-2 in that order. Indy pulled off a hard-fought win in the rain in Baltimore with maybe some help from the refs during the Ravens' final final offensive play in overtime. But as 8-point dogs and no Anthony Richardson, they got it done with good defense, a couple of fumbles by Lamar Jackson, and Zach Moss running the ball very well. Houston beat up on Jacksonville. They were 7.5-point dogs themselves. Jacksonville didn't even score a point until the third quarter, and while they did get it going offensively in the second half, the Texans' offense was too much to handle. The rookies came up big for the Texans' offense as CJ Stroud gave us 280 yards and 2 touchdowns with no turnovers, and rookie wide receiver Tank Dell had 145 yards and a touchdown. He was also clocked at 20.8 miles per hour, so the dude is showing off that quickness. Stroud's third down efficiency this year has been very impressive, and he may be the best rookie quarterback so far early on. I love what I've seen from Anthony Richardson in his limited time, but Stroud deserves his credit as well. The best part of this game was late in the third quarter when Andrew Beck, a fullback for the Texans, somehow returned a kickoff for a touchdown, making it a 2-touchdown lead. As for Tennessee, I mean, maybe it's the Browns defense who has looked ferocious so far, but they were only able to muster up 3 points on offense the entire day. The Titans are only averaging 15 points per game this season, and you have to question if this offense is just too old and their offensive line is just not good. It is early, but Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and even DeAndre Hopkins a bit look like their best days are behind them. Tennessee had only 6 first downs, they allowed 5 sacks, and had under 100 yards of total offense. Yikes. Tennessee's 96 offensive yards were their fewest since their relocation in 1997, back when they were the Houston Oilers. I'm not going to press the panic alarm on Jacksonville just yet, but with Tennessee, I feel like the warning signs are there. But then again, Mike Vrabel's a great coach, so I don't know. It's a fun story so far, and we'll see if either Indy or Houston can flirt with the playoffs throughout the year. The Chargers saved their season, and head coach Brandon Staley made a decision that could have costed him his job. Of all the games this week, I found this matchup between 0-2 teams pretty intriguing. Minnesota was a 13-win playoff team last year, and the Chargers made the playoffs as well. Unfortunately, both were first-round exits. One of them had to fall to 0-3, and it ended up being Minnesota, but they were one play away from changing that. Late in the fourth quarter, up by 4 on their own 24-yard line, Brandon Staley decided to go for it on 4th and 1. The fullback dive to their running back Josh Kelly came up just short, and the Vikings were in prime position to win that game, starting their possession almost in the red zone. Luckily for Staley, the greedy decision did not cost him his job, as Kirk Cousins, after some awful clock management, forced a pass to TJ Hawkinson that could have been caught honestly, but it was batted up for an interception, and Kenneth Murray came down with it, and the Chargers held on to live another day. For Staley, it worked out, but that had to be one of the riskiest coaching decisions you'll ever see. The Chargers still can't run the ball without Austin Eckler, even in a cake matchup versus the Vikings run D. Keenan Allen went crazy with 18 receptions, over 200 yards, and even had a 49-yard passing touchdown on top of it. Justin Herbert looked great. He had a great completion percentage, throwing for over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no turnovers. The Vikings ran 78 offensive plays. Kirk Cousins and Jefferson were fantastic, but just like the Cowboys, they were inefficient in the red zone, going 1 for 4. And also some bad news for the Chargers, as they lost Mike Williams to a torn ACL for the entire year. It's time for their first-round pick Quentin Johnston to step up. What the hell was Josh McDaniels doing last night? This reminded me of the Matt LaFleur cowardly decision from the NFC Championship in 2020. They were down 8 with a Super Bowl appearance on the line, and they kicked a field goal to go down 5 with 2 minutes to go, and Aaron Rodgers never got the ball back. For Josh McDaniels last night, he made the decision down 23-15, an 8-point game with 2 minutes and 25 seconds to go, to kick a field goal on 4th and 4 from the Steelers' 8-yard line, cutting the lead to 5. And just like the Packers 3 years prior, the Raiders lost as well. These coaching decisions never make sense, and for some reason, majority of these coaches cannot find the right balance of when to go for it and when to be conservative. What Brandon Staley did was irresponsible, and the play call was even worse. What Josh McDaniels did last night was a guy just playing not to lose. Josh McDaniels also had this weird quote last night saying we needed multiple possessions. But like, you were down by 1 possession, why do you need multiple? Maybe to win the game, I guess, but your goal at that point should be to tie the game. If you don't trust your offense to get 4 yards, but you trust your defense to get a 3 and out, which is not a good defense by the way, then how does that make any sense? I guess I didn't know that the Raiders had this elite defense. Silly me. Anyway, that's gonna do it for the Week 3 overreaction. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like and consider subscribing if you did, and I'll talk to you guys next time.